Welcome everyone for the first Open Science Community Amsterdam Award. My name is Alexandra Serafoglu. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at UVA, and I'm the founding member of OSCA and also currently a member of the OSCA board. When I was preparing for this mini speech here at the beginning of the session, I looked in my email inbox to see when OSCA actually officially started, and I found an email from the 6th September 2018 where we received our official OSCA logo. So OSCA is existing almost 4.5 years already. And we started pretty small, just a couple of people within the Psychological Institute at the UVA. And we have grown to over 250 members from 4 institutes. And as far as I recall, we're the only open science community in the Netherlands that have a collaboration between different institutes. And I personally find that quite remarkable. And in the past years, OSCA has focused a lot on collaboration and growth across our institute. We implemented a board where 2 representatives from each institute are present, and also 2 student representatives. And this first OSCAwards is one effort to collaborate between the institutes and actually celebrating that we're all here having the same goal, and to recognize the researchers and the educators and the support staff and the students for their open science efforts. So as I said, I'm pretty excited. Hopefully this is going to be a yearly event from now on. And I would like to welcome now Eduarda, which is also part of our OSCA board. And she's going to lead us through the entire ceremony and this event. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I hope you hear well in the back. So I'm Eduarda. I work at the VUMC as a research assistant, but I'm also doing a PhD in France. So I'm sometimes here, sometimes there. And now I would like to start calling the panelists that will make part of our team science discussion tonight. So we will have 3 presentations of 10 minutes each. They will be one after the other. And after everything, we will have questions. We will open the floor for questions. And we will have a round table for 15 minutes. So to start, I would like to first, calling Maaike de Jong, community manager from the eScience Center. Please come to stage and sit with us. You can find any of the seats, please. Lisa Yu, also community manager from the UvA Data Science Center. You can sit there, please. And Eva Baren and Thijs van Schendel, I hope I got this right, editors at the Open Research Amsterdam. Yeah, up to you. Go for it. Yeah. Thank you. So, Maaike, you're going to be the first presenter, if that's okay. The setup is here. You should just follow the slides, and I'll be sitting there. Thank you.
Are the slides behind it?
Yeah, just pass the next one.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here at this wonderful event. Thank you for having me. Before I dive into my slides, I just want to take a moment to emphasize how crucial software is for our modern day research. So whether it's genomics or climate modeling or natural language processing or making scripts to make a figure or do a statistical analysis for your research, software plays a really important role in all of these. And often software and digital methods are now pushing the boundaries of what's possible in research. So with that in mind, I work at the Netherlands eScience Center, and our mission is to empower researchers across all disciplines through innovative software. And this is mostly focused on the Netherlands. And our vision is to have a robust research community in which all researchers in all domains are able to exploit advanced digital technologies to answer curiosity-driven questions. Oh. Okay. I think these are my old slides, so some parts are actually cut off, but I think we'll get through them. So the Netherlands eScience Center is the National Center for Research Software. You can see our team, or at least a part of our team, in the picture. We were founded by SURF and MWO about 10 years ago, and this picture has been taken during our recent 10-year anniversary. So most of the people at the eScience Center are research software engineers. We're now with a group of about 100 people. We're growing fast. About 60 or 70 of those are research software engineers. And we also have an increasingly growing team of community managers, which I'm part of. And almost all of us have an academic background. So many people have a PhD, and we come from all kinds of directions. We work on our mission mainly in two different ways. So the first one, that's the biggest one. We collaboratively design software for research through our calls and projects. So several times per year we open calls. So we have 2 calls open now, so I'll get to that in a minute, where we ask for applications for projects where the applicants, so any researcher from research organizations in the Netherlands, can apply for our contribution, which is our expertise, and we contribute that in time of our research software engineers. So we don't provide funds, we provide expertise in the form of engineered time. And second, we also increasingly build digital expertise through trainings and workshops, and also community building. So we have a digital skills program where we offer all kinds of training that's open to all researchers in the Netherlands, and it's free. For example, courses like basic programming skills in R and Python, but also intermediate and advanced programming skills. Also courses on open science, fair software. And we're also very active in lots of national and international workshops and networks around open science and open research software. So we have a lot of expertise also in different domains. The main ones of our expertise in technologies are artificial intelligence, analytics, computing, data processing, and software quality. But as I just mentioned, we also do a lot in open science, open source, fair software, and software sustainability. And these are, of course, all related. So open science is really a part of everything we do at the center. So we develop our software by default in an open and collaborative way, for example, using open repositories such as GitHub, and always adhering to best practices in terms of open science and open source development. We also promote these best practices through our projects and through our training. All our training materials are open, and we do lots of community engagement. And there are some pictures here of examples of best practices initiatives we're involved in. For example, this fairsoftware.eu. We're also deeply involved in the Turing Way, and also very active in the carpentries. Yeah. So by promoting open research software, we try to promote the recognition of the work of researchers and developers on open source software. We also contribute to research integrity by promoting reproduction and replication of research results. And very important to us is promoting the reuse of software and collaboration around software, because so many times when researchers work in isolation and they don't know how, or they're not used to sharing their software, they might reinvent the wheel. Lots of software solutions are being built for similar problems, and sometimes, or many times, the software you would need could already be out there, and maybe you just need to tweak it a little bit to use it. And that's why this collaboration is also so important. A lot of software has the potential to be used by others, built upon, and evolve into something new. Also, an active community around software keeps the software alive, right? Unlike data or papers, which are relatively static, software is a dynamic product, which is dependent on lots of other software that's all being developed, and it needs to be maintained to stay alive. So, this says challenges in team science. Of course, so this collaborative way of working is really wonderful, and I think that's one of my favorite things about working at the eScience Center, because that's by default how we work. But this sometimes also brings some challenges. For example, we can't always reach the right potential collaborators, and we see especially in fields like social sciences and humanities that the awareness is not always there among researchers what digital skills and methods can actually mean for their research. But we're actively working on that. There's also still a big gap between the best practices that we use and what the average researcher knows, but we're also working that through our training. Researchers are very busy, obviously. They don't always have enough time for software projects. And that is very much related to the next point, that the recognition for software development work is still limited. So they are often not rewarded enough to put a lot of time in it. And finally, the point I just mentioned also in the last slide, what's really important is ensuring software sustainability through reuse and community. But this also takes time and investment, and often when projects end, there's no additional funds for making sure that the software stays alive and remains to have a good community. So finally, I want to quickly show you an example of, and it says teamwork example, yeah, ESM-Valtool. This is a really nice example of a project we have at the eScience Center that's community-driven. ESM-Valtool is a tool that facilitates analysis of data from Earth system models. And so this tool started relatively small, with a small user base. But then when we got involved as the eScience Center, we started implementing best practices. So best practice in working collaboratively, working on open source software, and also providing the right documentation. So and also actively building a community, doing a lot of outreach. For example, organizing community calls, providing training. And so now this has grown to a really nice international community of scientists and software engineers who are all using and some contributing to the tool. And now the tool is widely used with contributions to the IPCC report, so it has a really big impact. Yeah. So this is my final slide. I just so this also has a title that you can't see, but that's collaborate with us. We have several initiatives at the moment going on that you can be involved in if you would like. For example, we have our fellowship program that's now open for applications. Next month we have a information event. We have 2 calls for collaborative projects open. And we also have upcoming trainings and workshops. You can find all the information about these things and much more on our website. We also have Twitter and a Mastodon account. And with that, I would like to thank you very much. And also many thanks to the Open Science Community Amsterdam for putting research software in the spotlight and giving it the attention that it deserves.
So thank you very much, Micah, for the presentation. And I'm sorry about the technical issues that we are having with the slides. We couldn't really correct it in time, I guess. So I'm very sorry. And I apologize in advance if they continue to the other presentations. So please, Lisa, if you don't mind. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to the Open Science Community Amsterdam for inviting me to speak today. My name is Lisa Yu. I'm the Community Manager for the University of Amsterdam Data Science Centre. And today I'm here to talk about the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration, the challenges, the work that we're doing at the Data Science Centre to foster greater collaboration, and also what we're doing in the future as well. Cool. Okay, so in case you haven't heard about us before, I'll give you a very quick background summary of who we are. So we launched in 2021, and we're an interdisciplinary community of data scientists, data engineers, and researchers across all disciplines and faculties at the University of Amsterdam. And in the setup of the Data Science Centre, there were two key driving forces. The first one is, as you can see, it was the need for a team science-oriented approach towards data-driven research. And this very much was identified through discussions with researchers and different faculties across the university. And the second driving force that really motivated us to launch the Data Science Centre was that we saw that there was an opportunity to accelerate greater interdisciplinary collaboration around data. We know from large-scale studies that communities arise around data sets. And these communities often draw from different disciplines and methodological backgrounds. And obviously, interdisciplinary collaboration allows people to see things from fresh perspectives. It allows people to use different methods to tackle common challenges. And it's also an opportunity to widen one's own professional network. So all of those factors combined are what we see as important things to help accelerate research and new discoveries. We do offer a lot of things for our affiliate members, which we do feel relate to open science. So one of the biggest ones is that we give people access to a community of like-minded peers and colleagues, and we also offer specialized training opportunities, both internally and externally. And furthermore, it's an opportunity for our members to showcase their research and to gain greater visibility, both within UvA and also externally as well. But furthermore, these are, I guess, two very concrete examples of our commitment to open science at the Data Science Centre. The first one is that we do have a DSC GitHub repository. So this is a publicly accessible workspace where our members, but also the public, can access important data sets or information on a wide variety of data science topics. And I invite anyone in the audience to check it out if you have time. And secondly, we also support both members and non-members at UvA to support them, with software and data carpentries as well. Okay, so this is just a very quick snapshot of where things are at the moment. We are a rapidly growing community. We have over 50 affiliate members from all 7 UvA faculties. We have co-financed 25 FTE data scientists across the university. We also hosted 17 events in 2022, and I'll touch on those a little bit more later on. And like I said, everything that we do, we have interdisciplinarity in mind. So you might be wondering, what does interdisciplinarity look like in data science? I hope technically this will work. This is a video, it's a highlights video from Data Science Day, which was a major event, and I think that will answer that question. Data Science Day is an annual event hosted by the Data Science Centre at the University of Amsterdam. It's such an important event because it's an opportunity for the data science community at UvA to come together, connect with each other and learn from each other as well.
University of Amsterdam is really special in that we're a broad-based university, so we have many different disciplines, but we're all coming together around these new data science methods.
Well, the Data Science Day gives us an opportunity to showcase the exciting data science that is happening at the moment at UvA.
People here from a wide variety of scientific disciplines applying data science to their own area. Data science almost functions like a lingua franca, a common language in which people can communicate solutions to problems that they have with their data to people from very different fields.
What I enjoyed most about the Data Science Day, I think, were the pitches, because it gave such a nice overview of all the disciplines that data science is relevant to.
I myself work in the field of computational social science. It was such a discovery to see what people do in law and data science or bioinformatics and data science. So amazing, just to see what people in the field are doing.
Cool. So it is an annual event. We will have another Data Science Day this year. So you're all welcome to join, and you can check out our website for more details on that when the time comes. 3 minutes, okay. I won't go through this in detail for the sake of time, but hopefully you can tell from this slide we do organise a lot of different meetups, and the intention behind it is to give people the opportunity from different disciplines, different faculties to meet each other. Another example of how we're trying to foster greater interdisciplinarity is through our interdisciplinary PhD program. So through this program, we fund 7 PhD positions to research new data science methods. And the PhD students are always jointly supervised, and they, of course, become DSC members too. So this is just an example of some different collaborations. We've got Faculty of Science with Dentistry, Faculty of Science with Medicine, and Science and Humanities. So very, very different focus areas, but all to do with the application of data science as well. And we do have a new call on our website. You can check it out later. So as we heard, there are sometimes challenges in team science collaboration, and these are the 3 ones that come up quite often. When you bring different people together, there's bound to be different opinions, different philosophies, so that is definitely a challenge. Also, there can be disagreement on team roles and responsibilities. And finally, I think something that's quite specific to UvA is the geographical challenges, and sometimes people just don't logistically have the space or maybe even the time to meet up with each other and work on things together. So yeah, sometimes teamwork doesn't make the dream work, basically. We at the DSC recognise that, and we are trying to put in place mitigation strategies through our meetups, through our initiatives. So for instance, all our meetups, we see them as ways to create low pressure opportunities to meet different people. So you can get an idea of whether you like the person before you actually enter into new projects and work on new collaborations together. Our calls always ask specific questions that are designed to make people establish their expectations from the start and agree on their responsibilities from the start. And finally, unfortunately, the text is a bit covered, but our meetups are also held in alternating locations. So we try to overcome the geographical challenge of the UvA campuses being separated. And also at the same time, we invite all our DSC members to come to the university library, which is where we're based. And they're more than welcome to use the spaces there to work on things together. We did do a survey last year, and I think the main one to emphasize is that through the feedback of our members, they have said that they gained a lot of fresh perspectives and inspiration from being a part of the community. One member said it keeps me up to date in relation to the latest techniques in AI, and it motivates me to start using these techniques and find other ways to approach the data. So that's just one example of, I guess, a real-life impact that we're seeing the community have. Finally, I just want to say we do have an upcoming event, which I think the audience here would be interested in. It's on the 24th of March, just 10 minutes walk away from here at the Het Truppenhaus. It's free registration, open to everyone. We have world-leading researchers coming to talk on a variety of topics related to the societal impact of AI and data science. So I think registrations will open tomorrow. So make sure you check our website for more information. And that's it. Hopefully I'm not too much over time. This is our website, this is our Twitter, and also our email address in case you want to contact us to ask any questions. Thank you.
Now I ask, of course, Eva and Thijs to come and give their presentation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, can everybody hear me? Yeah, perfect. Delighted to be here. Thijs van Schijndel, City of Amsterdam. All right, so the relationship between government and government policy and scientific research is becoming more and more important. So there's a lot of activity already, a lot of willingness already, but collaboration is hard. There's also confusion and sometimes a lack of transparency. This applies to collaborations both at the European and the national level, but also for collaborations at regional or local level. And this is where policy affects people, their daily lives. This accounts for all crises, from anywhere ranging from mobility to the food transition, energy transition, to even fixing our quay walls and bridges next door. And successful regional and local collaborations can provide very valuable insights for addressing societal challenges at all levels. So let's take a very simple example of this. Let's simplify it just to illustrate the point here. Let's talk about rats. So the municipality actually has the power to do something about it, but they don't have the knowledge. For example, the health department in Amsterdam, they got the data about where rats are in the city. Then we have researchers within the University of Amsterdam putting chips into rats to check how they track and move through the city, where they eat. And then we have extermination, which is commercial companies are responsible for the extermination. And they all have their own data sets, they all have their own researchers, and they're working in their own silos mainly. Anyway, the point here is that the city is a complex system, and it requires more research and more connection between different forms of knowledge. So scientific, as well as practice, design, and experience. That's why it's very nice to have a chief science officer in Amsterdam. Caroline Nevian is, since 2016, the central point of contact for the municipality and the research institutions in the city for the knowledge and research related topics. And the CSO's important task is to give more structure to research related cooperation in the whole city. So the chief science officer, she stimulates, initiates, and connects between the different research contexts, and is both in the physical as well as in the digital domain. Speaking of the latter, since 2020, the municipality of Amsterdam launched openresearch.amsterdam. And this is a digital platform where research, knowledge, and innovation about Amsterdam and the whole metropolitan area is being shared. And the goal is to share knowledge, to show relations between the different research contexts, and also to work together in different research projects. Very unique of the platform is the software and the governance, which I cannot talk very in depth about right now. But to give an example, let's take the concept of LinkedIn and turn it inside out. So on LinkedIn, you add people to your network and therefore create meaning. On open research, researchers from different knowledge institutions in the city, as well as municipal researchers, show their work on the platform, and thus, through our semantic software, become related to each other. you see who works on your same field, but within a different building in the city. As of today, by the way, it's possible for researchers for the University of Amsterdam and the Free University to log in on the platform using their own credentials, so please go check that out. Anyway, it's actually being used. Yeah, kinda. Our small team of 4 full-time employees, we facilitate the work of currently more than 200 editors. Editors are researchers, municipal servants, anybody working for one of our partners. We're sharing their research on the platform and always remain and keep ownership of their own work. So you see a couple of the data here. But what I want to address especially here are the 180 digital workspace on the platform. So here researchers, externals, municipal servants, they come together, they publish, document and share their research online, which is relevant for Amsterdam and the metropolitan area. These are becoming increasingly popular because the data is hosted locally, and working with American tech giants is becoming more difficult due to ethical constraints, which I like. Anyway, in what ways are we open? Well, most of our publications are open access. However, we do give the possibility to municipal servants and researchers to share in a semi-open layer where your work is only visible for people working within the bigger university and knowledge institutions in the cities. Authors always remain ownership of their own work. Our editorial board only facilitates and checks content being uploaded. Our source code is open. However, I'm still in the struggle with the security officer of the municipality of Amsterdam to publish the source code fully on the Amsterdam GitHub. Then I'd like to say that our content is also being shared within under the Creative Commons license, which enables people to share their work openly while still maintaining some kind of legal protection. And lastly, we encourage all our participants, all our research to be transparent, show in-between results, show research wishes, and document also the process of coming to the end result of your research. So, speaking of collaborations, I think now it's time to give my colleague the floor.
Yep. There you go. All right. So, let me fix this. Yeah. So as Thijs mentioned, Open Research also hosts workshops. These are digital representations of physical collaborations between scientists, civil servants and stakeholders, often also other stakeholders. The goal is to share knowledge and find new solutions to the city's challenges. This is, however, hard because scientists and civil servants both work in bureaucratic systems. This can make them easily disinterested and frustrated. We give you 3 reasons why. 1, they have different incentives. Scientists are required to mainly focus on grants and publishing. They have also a high workload because they have to teach, they have to manage a lot, and they also have to have an impact. So in collaborations, it makes it harder for them to think beyond their own interests and also maintain some kind of patience in the process. Civil servants, on the other hand, also have a problem. They have a shorter research cycle. They have to solve problems fast and mostly within their department. So the problem is assigned to their specific department. Knowledge outside of this framework can make their job harder, unfortunately. And therefore, they can easily dismiss this kind of knowledge, even if it's relevant to them in the long term. So, a colleague recently told me, yes, we currently experiment with technology X in the public space, but I don't see how a workshop on technology X and public values is relevant for us. Yeah, bummer, it is, but you'll find out later. 2, there are different contributions to policy. So science focuses on truth finding. It wants to make sure governments make decisions based on research-based knowledge. For civil servants, knowledge is just one instrument to make decisions next to time, money, and also politics. Research from the Wageningen University in 2021 has shown that researchers can get really frustrated when civil servants are not transparent about this during a project. 3, different discourses. So for scientists, understanding each other's paradigms It can already be hard when you work interdisciplinary. Add to this the logic and language of civil servants, and you're bound to get lost in translation. The problem gets worse because people aren't aware of the gaps they have to bridge. Our chief science officer often refers to a term by Thomas Kuhn, which is called incommensurability, which means that people do not have in common what they are sure of. And because they are sure of it, they don't talk about it either. So as a result of these differences, collaborations tend to be short and also between the usual suspects. And this is a problem because we have so many challenges in the city. We need everybody. Is all hope then lost? No, it's not. We have many examples of very successful collaborations, and one of them you can see here. This is the Energy Lab Southeast, which is basically a growing group of researchers, students, civil servants, businesses, citizens, and others to work to find local ways of creating sustainable energy. What this workspace and also other successful workspaces have in common is that they are directed by a skilled bridge builder person, which often with an interdisciplinary background, who does a few things, namely, he or she makes sure that there are regular meetings to keep the fire going, is able to build mutual trust between the different parties, spots and addresses difficulties, keeps returning to the bigger picture that unites all parties, and documents what happens and prepares for what comes next. The last point brings us back to our platform, because people can read about the plans of the workspace or the group that's doing the workspace and catch up on what they have missed. They can find each other, therefore, at the right place and just in time to face the big challenges we have. This is one of the key contributions of open research to what you can call the urban and regional research ecology of Amsterdam. Speaking of ecology, the red issue that Thijs mentioned earlier is addressed in one of these workspaces, which is the workspace of urban ecology and bio-based solutions. So the reds are doing fine over there, or not fine, I don't know. I hope fine. In short, by offering new and open ways to connect and engage, both online and offline, we are trying to change organizational cultures from within. As does the open science movement, I would say. So I think the next question is, how can we successfully collaborate? For example, you can share your research or your open science toolkits if you have them. How do you do open science? It's very interesting for everybody to know. We can help you join or start a workspace if you want. And maybe we can also join forces to shift organizational cultures together. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much. They were great presentations, very interesting. So now we will open the floor for questions. We have a microphone here in front with Lena, so if anyone wants to ask questions, just raise your hand and she will come to you. In the meantime, I will join them in the round table. Any questions? Any questions from now? No. So I will start with one that I was wondering. So I'm also, let's say, working a bit on trying to change a culture towards open science, and often I feel that there's like a bit of some challenges that are expected from trying to change a culture. For example, as you mentioning, people joining around the idea, some cultural differences sometimes. Were there challenges in your experience in your path so far that are completely unexpected and that you learned a lot from and that you'd like to share with the community? How do in your view? Something that stands out, let's say.
So sometimes I'm surprised. So we learn that, well, depending on the discipline, of course, it's often difficult for researchers to work openly. I mean, that's a common problem, but also especially when it comes to research software. For us, it's so normal at the center because, yeah, we are a little bit different, of course. We're not the same as a university, we're a research institute, but our whole mission is to produce open source software. So for example, I led a team that built an online platform to showcase research software on the web, which we just launched. And we also, as a center, we publish all our software on there so that it becomes visible and findable for other researchers. We're now working with University of Utrecht and also University of Leiden and other research organizations that are now also using it. But maybe naive, but it was definitely a surprise for us that for some researchers it's just really hard to put their software on there, and they want to, but then our whole system works on the basis that you use GitHub, for example, and of course a lot of researchers don't do that, especially in medical sciences or in more technical sciences where there's partnerships with industry, for example. So yes, for us that was not a huge surprise, but definitely something that we're running into, and we have to find other ways to work around that. Yeah.
May I ask, how did you try to manage the situation?
So of course, well, in an ideal world, everybody would, adhere to these best practices and make sure that also all the metadata is open and that we can easily put all the relevant information on that platform. But that's not going to happen for a while, at least. So what we're now trying to do is, for example, integrate the platform with more closed repositories, for example, GitLab, or we try to connect to other ways and other infrastructure that is more suited for more closed software. So that, for example, you can publish your software, but the software is not accessible, but the metadata is so that it's still findable. Yeah.
Would anyone like to comment?
Yeah, I think it's not so much surprising, but it more so touches on the challenges that we've seen. So sometimes, we want people to collaborate more, and it just doesn't work sometimes. And you've tried everything, but in the end it fails. So we had one particular incident with one of the collaborations that we were funding. The idea was great, everyone was enthusiastic, but sometimes it was just a bit of red tape, different processes, very different, priorities. It became apparent. And after some time, it was, we had to say, okay, let's abandon this. So I think sometimes it's also recognizing that it's not always a success story, and that's okay, and we can learn from that. And especially for us, as the Data Science Centre is quite new, we still see ourselves as a new centre. We're learning as we go, and every semester we're trying to improve with our initiatives and our calls and the proposals that we fund as well. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
I think it's also sometimes about accepting the fact that things go slow, and that there still is a lot of conservatism, and people are used to the way they work. For example, the last example I give about sharing the source code online, and I thought it was actually quite an easy process to do so, but then there comes a security officer out of the blue saying, no, there are security risks and this and that, so you constantly fight against, some people just think more in risks, other more in opportunities, and I think by just giving things time, showing that, risks are part of life, is just a gradual process, and eventually you get there. Yeah. Maybe you have an example so about disinformation workspace or something?
Yeah, but more in general. So I've been working at the municipality for a year. So I've been longer in science than in government, so to speak. But I keep being surprised about when we start a workspace, whatever topic it is, that people are looking into each other. So they both want to collaborate, but you know, from the scholars or the scientists, they ask us. So what do you want? What do we have to tell you? What do you want? What are your questions? Yeah? So let us answer your questions. But most of the time, the questions aren't clear yet. There's just this issue arising, and then they say that we have to do something with it. So help us, tell us what we have to do. And so this goes on for a while, and then I come back to Thijs's point. It takes time, so you have to do this in order to get clarity on what's the best course of action together. But yeah, this keeps surprising me always. This mutual expectation. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your answers. I think it's a good take-home message. It's culture change. Takes time, and it's a frustrating process at times, but it's an important one. So yeah, let's stay with the head up high on the process. Yeah, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the audience that we could take with the microphone? Lena? Yeah.
First, thank you for the interesting presentations. I have a question to the last speaker about the collaboration between the municipalities and universities. I'm from State. A few years ago, I was collaborating with somebody from the municipality, and then she moved on to another department. That was an issue you mentioned yourself. And for me, from the outside, this is a huge organization, and now I really don't know whom to contact with the questions I have. I really would like to collaborate, but I don't know with whom, and people move on all the time. So this is my problem, and hopefully you have a solution.
So I hope you remember the email address that's here on the on the big screen. Yeah, of course, it's very hard. I think the municipality of Amsterdam is like the biggest employee of the Netherlands with more than 15,000 employees. So it's very hard, also for us as internals. But if you just email us, and I think here's actually fine, because we actually get. Most questions can be related to two subjects. One is matching, so getting in touch with the right municipal servant to start a collaboration based on your content. And the other one is about how can I actually share my stuff. You know, I'm a researcher. I do stuff on rats, on the housing market. How can I actually present this to the people who are in power for those two problems? Email us, and we'll get you there. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? I don't see any from... Oh, and where is the mic? Orlena? Over here.
Thank you. I have a question to the people from the city of Amsterdam. I think it's very interesting how you showed how both politics and data are used in decision making. And I was wondering how that goes. So when a group of people at the city can find the data in the open repository, is it used immediately? Or do you first contact the scientist who gathered the data? Because they might be gathered through a human lens also that isn't entirely objective.
I can start, yeah. Well, there's no one answer to this question. It just depends. So, and it depends in the time frame of which a decision should be made. It depends on the network. It depends on the policy advisors and their knowledge. Do they even use open research? Yeah, sometimes absolutely not. You know, I can be fair and honest with you, saying that some policy lacks the evidence and the research that the University of Amsterdam would agree on as high quality decision making. On the other hand, there are examples, for example, with the academic workshops we also host, that it starts actually with a question. And then it becomes more interesting instead of a demand for new policy. And from there you can see that there's more room, more space for collaboration to be sought. And I think there are many examples. For example, during COVID, for the food transition, that there are very structural collaborations which just started out of a questions and have influenced policy. So that's one example. Another thing that helps a lot, I think, is our a project we started a year or 4 ago, is where we actually make sure it's possible for municipal servants to obtain a PhD while still working for the municipality of Amsterdam. We do this in collaboration with the University of Amsterdam, and that also really helps to get literally more knowledge into the city as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, not only more knowledge, also another way of thinking, basically, which is what it's about. But as Thijs said, it also depends on the department. So we have an innovation R&D department, and they ask questions. They are also, they have a different purpose to experiment and to see what's happening. And when you are advising for strategy on a high level, you have everyday politics really close to you. Then there's another rhythm and another way of decision making. So it really depends on the department. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I think we can take maybe one more. Maybe we're a bit short on time. Yeah. Any? If no, I think we will close and proceed to the awards, because we're a bit short on time for tonight. And I would like to thank the panelists very much for the presentations and for being here, and for the round table. And a big round of applause. So I'll ask you to please come back. And in the meantime that they are preparing the stage, I would like to ask Alexandra to come back, and we'll do the award granting together.
Yeah, so how the award ceremony will go is that we had 4 categories, and we have 2 awards per category. And now when the stage is ready, I'm gonna call the project name of the winning project. Then I would like to ask one speaker on stage who gives the pitch. And then there will be a photo moment where you will receive your certificate. So yes, the first category that we would like to hand out awards to is the category Open Access, Open Data, Open Materials, and Open Software. And we have 2 awards here, and the first award goes to the project Jeugd in Ontwikkeling, the Open Access Journal. And I would like to welcome you on stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Leonieke Boendermaker, and I'm here with the delegation of our team who are over there. And actually we proudly present our open access initiative, which is Jeugd in Ontwikkeling, and I don't know how to do this now. But we had a nice screenshot of our journal. Where has it been? Where has it gone? That's a pity. Please go to www.jeugdinontwikkeling.nl to see our journal. So Jeugd in Ontwikkeling is, in English, Youth in Development, is a scientific journal. And as of December 21, we publish scientific papers in Dutch for all researchers and professionals working with youth. So in psychology, psychiatry, special needs education, and in schools. And our aim is to give professionals working with youth in all these fields access to scientific research information, and we want to help researchers to increase their impact in the work fields. Jeugd in Ontwikkeling is built especially on fundaments of transparency and open science practices. First of all, it's a diamond open access journal, so articles are free to read for readers and authors publish for free. We work with an editorial board of Dutch and Belgian university researchers, and they work for free. We also use an open review, peer review process. So the reviews are published with the articles. And we And we require authors to upload their syntaxes in a public repository if possible, and we require a data availability statement. So far, we've published 5 papers. 2 new papers are forthcoming any moment, and our goal is to publish about 12 to 16 papers every year. So what have we learned in our first year? First of all, getting authors and readers for a new scientific journal takes time, as we have no publisher who is doing the communication. Second, Diamond Open Access funding is an issue. We are very grateful for funding for the first 3 years of our 2 current funders, the UvA Open Access Fund and the Dutch Association for Developmental Psychology. And right now we are busy setting up a foundation with an NB status to be able to receive donations. And we hope other scientific foundations in the youth field will support us very soon. And then last but not least, open review. Reviewers need to get used to the idea that their reviews will be published together with the article. And in principle, reviewers are published anonymously, unless the reviewer decides to undersign the review. So that's our experience in the first year, and that was what I would like to present to you.
The certificate of your project and this very beautiful board saying you have 200 euro.
Yeah, and I would love to have the other people here. That's okay for our photo. Kom op. Nou, dank je wel.
Ja, nee,
Thank you very much. The next award goes to the project Recipes for Replication, applying open science principles to research software development and data collection with cognitive tasks. So we would like to welcome Thomas on stage.
Well, hi, I'm pitching my dissertation, of which you've just heard the title. I wrote this dissertation under the supervision of Reinoud Wiers and Jaap Mudde while I was employed at the Faculty of Social and Behavioral Sciences, UVA, and while spending a year at Open Science Tools, University of Nottingham. Currently, I'm a research software consultant at Amsterdam UMC, where I'll try to make the software just as fair as our data. During my PhD, I learned all kinds of things, but in the interest of having only 2 minutes, I'm going to share 3 lessons on software. Lesson 1. Science has specific technical demands that are not well met by standard software engineering. Hence, we need something specialized, known as research software engineering. Lesson 2. Since software is such an integral part of the scientific workflow, making the software open source makes the science more open. However, it's hard to fund open source, and that's even harder the smaller the field in which the software is being used. Hence, we need better funding structures. If we don't, we risk becoming dependent on for-profit organizations, and we all know how that turned out with publishers. Lesson 3. Scientists tend only to cite the applications they use and not the modules and libraries those applications depend on. As a consequence, research software engineers are incentivized to build new applications instead of contributing to existing ones. To promote collaboration between engineers, we need better attribution methods. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now move on to the next category, which was transparency, meta science, pre-registration, and reproducibility. On the slides, you can see all the submissions for this category. And our first winner is from the project Transparency in Non-Profit and Philanthropy Research. So I would welcome you on stage.
Well, no text. So that's everything. Maybe the other one. Meanwhile, let me tell you, I'm René Bekkers. I'm a professor of philanthropy at the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. Philanthropy is giving money, but it's also a universe of, we just heard about an ANBI, a registered charitable organization, instruments, organizations that you could use to receive money. So in this project, we wanted to increase the transparency in research on philanthropy and non-profit organizations. Transparency is a problem in philanthropy itself, but it's also a problem in the research. Like in many social science disciplines, it's not that transparent at all. So that was the diagnosis that we started from. It's not transparent, and we want to improve that, especially in terms of data and methods. So one idea is to start with just a quantification. How much of the research data are actually provided, like in your Jeugd in Ontwikkeling journal, where it is a requirement. If it's not a requirement, very few people do it. And we want to improve that just by starting to map the problem of how bad it is right now, then maybe with some additional data on what the benefits could be of transparency, people can be convinced a little bit more to do it. And then transparency alone is not enough to make a study good. I mean, if you look at rats very transparently, they still are rats. So the same goes for research. Maybe that's the reason why it's not that transparent at all. So we are trying to use computational social science tricks and tools in our project. We have a few very good engineers on board, and special thanks to Laura Otis from the eScience Center, who helped us pilot a pipeline to extract named entity recognition stuff from PDFs, which is going to be really helpful for this project. It's an open collaboration. We just started, so no results yet. You can join us, and we're happy to welcome you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The second award in this category goes to the project Experimental Insights into the Deterrent Effects of Sanctions in Prison, the Role of Procedural Justice. So we would welcome you on stage.
Hello everyone, I'm Franziska Schreebe-de-Kom, and I'm wondering, how can I make sure that you will comply with the law? Should I punish you if you break it, or should I treat you nicely and hope that you will comply in turn? Well, this is what I study, but I study this in prisons, among individuals convicted for murder, manslaughter, or other crimes. Knowing how to change their behavior can make our world a safer place. So I went into prisons with 4 different versions of a questionnaire. Each questionnaire contained one hypothetical story, where prisoners were either punished severely or mildly for misbehaving, while at the same time they were either treated fairly or unfairly by prison staff. Does punishment reduce their misbehavior? Does fair treatment do? Or do we need to do both at the same time? Answering these questions can be done in many different ways. And also, what do I mean with misbehavior anyways? This is the reason that I pre-registered my definitions before the start of this project. From past research, we know that 1/3 of all criminologists at some point in their career have derived hypotheses from their results and then presented those hypotheses as if they had been there from the start. Having pre-registered my hypotheses actually provides a time-stamped, detailed research plan, and at the same time helps us to distinguish the hypotheses that are derived from my results from those that had been there from the start. Lastly, I was also asked to come up with challenges of pre-registrations, but I cannot. Challenges that you encounter in pre-registered research aren't any different from challenges in any other study. Just you encounter those challenges earlier and get the chance to mitigate earlier. In my field, 50% of researchers do not pre-register. Let me conclude. Don't miss out on the advantages of pre-registered research and make your research more transparent and replicable by starting to pre-register at the start of your next project. Thank you.
Our third category was open educational resources, open education, and open online courses. And you see here again our submissions. And our first award goes to the project Notebook for Network and Topological Analysis in Neuroscience. And we would like to welcome you on stage.
Hey, I guess you've seen me quite a lot today already. So yeah, this project started back in 2020 when I was doing my master thesis at the FUMC in Dr. Dow's lab, together with Fernando, Julia, and Chris. And our goal here was to really create some educational material that would bridge some gaps between people coming from hard maths and neuroscience, and we wanted to make it very accessible to everyone. So it's focused on the context of brain imaging analysis. So we were focusing on two types of imaging analysis that are common to the field. And what we did is that we created, on one hand, the set of computational notebooks in Python that we explain this analysis step by step with some short explanations on what they mean. And on the other hand, we created and wrote a manuscript that now is published that explains more in depth all the theoretical background and also the mathematical explanations and some neuroscientific explanations. So this project has been really well received so far. I was able to present it in different conferences in different countries. Fernando already used this material to teach different hackathons, both in more like hard sciences departments, but also neuroscientific ones or medical ones. We were invited to publish, we were invited to put it as a chapter in a book, so it's been really a great journey, but I think for me the most important part is that often we receive emails from students from all over the world thanking us for this material and saying how it has helped them with their PhD thesis or master projects. So it's been a wonderful journey, I'm very proud of it, and I'm very happy to be receiving the award today. And to wrap up, I would like to, of course, thank my team for embarking on this journey with me back in 2020. The event organizers for making this incentive for open science today. I think is a very important thing to happen. The jury for selecting this project. And of course, all of you for your attention today. And if anyone is interested in this type of analysis or project, don't hesitate to talk to us after, during the drinks, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions. So thank you very much. And I ask my team to come on stage to take a photo.
Thank you. The next project that won is called The Role of Pedagogical Communities in Fostering Open Scholarship. And I believe none of the team members are here today, but we do have a video that someone has to put up. But yeah, that's also. Okay, so that didn't work, but I guess we can still give this project an applause. Yes, then we just move on to our last category, I guess. The last category was stakeholder involvement, citizen science, and community engagement. And we see here the 5 projects that were submitted. And the first project that won the award is called Bruggenbouwers in Spagat. And we would like to welcome them on stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frank, and I represent this project here, together with Sam and Willemien in the audience, and also our colleague Anna. I'm sure your boss is happy that you communicate about your research. But often your boss is also happy that he or she does not have to pay you for this, and you do this purely out of your individual enthusiasm. In Dutch we say, liefdewerk uit papier. And unfortunately, that is often the reality for science communication. And this is also going to change, and we are proud that we are part of that change. We were asked by the Royal Academy to study together with them what scientists need from their universities to communicate meaningfully about science. So about their research, but also about their research in relation to societal issues and challenges. And yeah, this was part of a pilot fund that you may know, wetenschapscommunicatie gewaardeerd, so the value of science communication. It was the first time actually that people were rewarded with a prize or fund for their efforts in science communication. So this was a community of pioneers in science communication from all faculties in the Netherlands that were rewarded. And we got the opportunity to interview them and to organize reflection sessions to find out how we can make this change happen and make science communication a full and integral part of academic work. And here you see our recommendations. So first of all, we think it's important that science communication is part of open science policy. So we like to look at open science as a zipper that is slowly opening up. And so we are moving from open access and open data actually to open agenda setting. So communicating with society in all phases of the research project from start to finish. This is only possible if we learn to see science communication as I said, a full and integral part of academic work. So take it seriously, make it a part of promotion models and assessment models. And also recognize that it is actually a profession, it requires expertise and training. So this is our message to the academic world and the different boards. And we are now moving towards implementation. And at least at our university, the Vrije Universiteit, we are making progress. So very happy and also happy to be here. Thank you. kom er maar even bij. These are Sam en Willemien.
Thank you very much. And now we come to our last award of the evening, which goes to the project Houselessness and Restrictions on Basic Rights and Protections.
Thank you. I thought I'd take my time to tell you what anthropologists do when they try to do research with people, not about them. So the first thing that we do is we unlearn everything we thought we knew. And then we build research together, which means that both the topic is co-designed and the methods are co-designed. In my case, that meant working on a fundamental contradiction in our contemporary societies, namely that fundamental rights to privacy and intimacy, so to family life, to parenthood, to relationships, are actually tied to housing, and what that means for people who live without. And it also meant living with houseless people on the streets for very long periods of time, because that is something that they demanded in order to let me in on their lives. Then basically having their expertise, pooling their expertise, and having that guide the findings. What it means, secondly, is that everyone is welcome, irrespective of your background, your opinion, your viewpoints. That meant that in our team there was, for instance, just speaking about politics, there was right-wing skinheads and there was very radical left-wing activists. And then it meant focusing on empathy over sympathy. So it doesn't matter what you actually believe in, it matters that we co-create the values of this project and that we adhere to them. And the third thing is building bridges, constantly building bridges. So mapping all stakeholders that are involved in houseless people's lives, ranging from the librarian to the police officer, to the municipality, to the politicians, and finding ways to talk to them, which usually meant for at least over 2 years that they say, no thanks, we really don't care, we're really not interested. And then finding that one bridge that actually gets them interested. I'll give you one example. In the case of the police, that was once we realized that one of their problems was fear. Right? They were really scared going into squads because they didn't know what was there. They had had bad experiences getting bitten. They had had bad experiences with objects thrown at them, and that made them very violent. Realizing that their violence is not actually something that they necessarily want to do or think they have to do, but something that they do out of fear. And then creating communications between these two parties actually allowed to set up rules for how police can safely enter squads and decrease the violence. Finally, I wanted to say that when it comes to my project, houselessness is definitely not only manageable, it is actually solvable. But in order to solve it, you do have to bring on board all stakeholders that matter. And that means, communicating with a whole bunch of people who really don't want to talk to you, constantly spending your time appearing on public channels, and constantly learning different kinds of languages to communicate through. Thank you.
Yes, so this concludes our award ceremony. Before we head over to the drinks, I just wanted to just give a brief summary of this year's edition of the Open Science Community Amsterdam Awards. We received altogether 25 really outstanding projects. It was really hard to choose the best ones because they were just all really great. We had 4 categories, 4 institutions participating. The range of people who submitted a project, it ranged from students up to full professors. It was really interdisciplinary. We had, it ranged from criminology to connectomics, I think. Yeah. And we, like all projects, basically received really high evaluations from our jury. So yes, we have now time until 7 for drinks. And for everyone who actually submitted a project but did not win the award tonight, we still want to reward and acknowledge everyone. So we do have the certificates printed out that you can collect from the back. And we also like to thank the jury that helped us evaluating the awards, and also my fellow board members for making this possible and organizing the awards as well. And then also the project representatives. Thank you.
There is a surprise specifically for you. As the master of Open Science Community Amsterdam, you are getting this
wow.
This hoodie with OSCA on it.
Yay!
We also had 3 wonderful students helping us to organize this, and we want to thank them, Laura, Stella, and Esther.
Are we done?
Yes. We already thanked the speakers, but please, speakers, please don't run away because we have flowers for you, and thank you so much for telling us about team science, about open science always being a team effort. Great to have a discussion. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's have drinks.